Everybody, hope you're doing good. So I'm just working on cleaning out this bed here, and what I wanted to do is show you how to collect some sage seeds. It's super easy. The things that I'm using to do this are just a paper bag and a pair of clippers. You don't have to have a paper bag, you can just use whatever you want to keep these in. Just make sure that it has good airflow, something like an open plate or a drying rack. And then all that you need to do is clip off the flowers and just make sure that you go down the plant and clip all the way back until you find new growth. And you see I've got a pretty good stem through here. So these have been in flower for a while. When these first bloom, the flowers are purple, and then they'll dry up and leave these little things, and there will be a black seed, a black or brown seed left in there. Now some of these have already fallen out. They've been ready to go for a minute. Now something that I did not mention is this is this plant's third year. So if you are just now planting your sage this year, don't expect to get flowers from it. It will bloom in its second year, and then each year that it comes back, the plant will be bigger and produce more blooms. If you want to keep it from going to seed, you just need to cut these off as they're blooming, and it will keep it more in this state where it's just producing the leaves. Now, even if you're not going to be collecting the flowers to save the seed from, it is important that you go ahead and prune your plants at some point during the season at least, if you're not going to be continuously harvesting it for the herb. So I'm actually going to abandon my paper bag. This is a sandwich bag, and it's actually a little bit too small. I've gotten only like 3/4 of the way through one sage plant out of like 4 that I need to trim, and I'm already full here. So I'm just going to lay these out on a cookie sheet, let them dry, and then crumble the flowers up and just like spread them out as needed. So that's an easy way to do it. There are several ways to save your flowers. This is a lot like saving a basil flower if you're familiar. My mugwort here is also going to seed, and I definitely do not need like thousands of mugwort plants popping up, so I'm going to go ahead and just chop the tops off of these and throw them into the burn pile. I'm not putting these into the compost because if they reseed in the compost, it'll be the same case as just letting them go to seed here. They'll be everywhere. So I'm just going to go and chop this is about 3 feet of the plant, 2 or 3 feet. Don't worry, it will grow back in no time. I'm just going to chop all of the tops off. If you would like, you can go through and keep all of the leaves to your mugwort. I am actually going to do that to a lot of these because these were just starting to go to seed, but I just whacked them all back at the same height. So I'm going to let these dry out. I'm just going to chop the seed pods off of the end here, and then I'll show you how I hang these to dry as well. So now I'm just cutting off the ends here. And I think I got all the seed pods off. There we go. I just want to save the leaves here, and you can actually save the seeds, the leaves, and the stems, all of this for teas. So I didn't necessarily need to do that. Okay. This is more what they look like when they first bloom. They have really pretty purple flowers, and then they'll slowly drop the purple petals, and it'll leave just this shell here, and eventually the seed will become fully formed in there. So you just want to make sure that the seed is fully formed before you chop the flowers off. Okay, we're back in now, and I'm going to show you just how I'm going to lay this out to dry. So first of all, let me show you the freaking sage seed haul that we got. There's going to be so many seeds in this. Okay, so I'm just going to lay these out on a tray of some sort. That I actually have quite a bit of sage here, and I just need a good amount of area to spread it out, and I'm not going to give up my cookie sheets for this. So I'm taking a piece of parchment paper and putting it on this shelf because I just don't want the seeds falling through the shelf and onto my floor. Otherwise, it would be perfectly fine just to let it sit on there. So I'm just going to take and carefully spread these out in an even thin layer. And over here next to it, I do actually have my lavender that's pretty much mostly dry. The last time that I dried this, that I didn't do this time, is so I cut the flowers off and just left them into the bag to dry separately from the stems and stuff. So I think I'm going to end up having a little bit of my flowers and my leaves mixed up together. And that wasn't really a goal because the leaves and stems can be kind of bitter. But it's not a big deal. But back to what I was doing, I'm just going to finish placing all of my sage seeds here. And alternatively, you could just get a larger paper bag or any kind of paper bag. They're really one of my favorite methods to be drying herbs with, because you can just drop the herbs in there and just completely leave them and have the seed in there for next year. So it will actually get enough airflow as long as you don't pack it full. You need to make sure that like you're only putting maybe half of the bag full. Just make sure that it can be able to dry out. And even if you need to come through and kind of resituate every so often to give it the opportunity to dry out, that's also helpful if you have a lot in there. So I actually have some of the little flower pieces left in here. I wonder if any of our seeds came out. There are a few down in there. Here's one. So I'm just going to quit playing with these now and just dump it here. Okay, and once those are dry, I'll probably just come through and either store them, like I was saying, in a larger paper bag and just crumble them whenever I'm ready to sow them, or I'll come through and kind of thrash the seeds out, and I'll show you if I do that so that you have a good idea. But it's a pretty simple process. You just put it in something and basically beat it until what you want falls out of there. So next we are going to move on to the mugwort. And as for the mugwort, what I'm going to do with my bunches of it is I'm actually just going to separate this in half. And then tie the bunches together. Again, you don't want to have too much together or we'll have the possibility of molding. I just wrapped it like twice around the outside and making sure that the string is secure. And then I'm going to take the string through the center of it and then wrap it a couple more times and then just tie it off. That's just a good way to make sure that everything is going to stay secured and together. Now that you have something like that, you'll just find whatever you want to tie it to. I'm just going to tie it straight to the shelf here. And then now I'm going to repeat the process with the other bunch. And by the way, for this, I'm just using some kind of natural husk string stuff. You can use whatever you want. This is just what I have on hand and have a lot of. So we just tie it around and then kind of split it a little bit through the middle. Bring the string through and then tie it around again. And then tie a knot. And you don't even have to be that secure with it. These are just a little bit heavier than, say, a small sprig of rosemary. And now I'm just going to hang this one on the other side of my shelf. Just by the way, guys, for mugwort, this one can make you a little bit sleepy, so make sure to keep it away from the kids and the animals. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this and that maybe you learned a little something. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a great day. Bye!